Hi, my name is Yvonne Lobby, and I'm with the Poughkeepsie Public Library District. And today I'm going to teach you how to make easy gift bags out of book pages. Here's an example of a gift bag that I made out of a dictionary page. It's very simple, and I'll show you how. You're going to need some paper. I have a variety of papers here. I have cardstock, I have book pages. What we're going to be using today is predominantly book pages. And I have a number of different kinds of pages. I have a sampler for a crochet from a crochet book. I've got music pages. And I've got maps and dictionary pages. So let's start with the dictionary page. So first you're going to decide which side do you want to be the outside of your bag. That would be, if you have a decorative side, this one has more pictures, so I'll make that one the outside of the bag. You're going to take your edge, doesn't matter, top or bottom. You're going to place your page down horizontally in front of you. You're going to fold over your edge so you have a nice crisp fold. And what this does is it becomes the top of the bag. Next, you're going to fold your bag, and this doesn't have to be precise. You're going to fold it in half till it meets the center, thereabouts. Now you're going to take your other half and you're going to fold it just so it overlaps just a little bit. Your seam, you're basically creating a seam. And now you're going to take your Scotch tape, and I usually do mine a little bit over the top so I can tuck it around. Then it's easier to work with smaller pieces of Scotch tape than one long piece. And it doesn't really matter because it's clear, so it doesn't show up very easily. Okay, so now you have this seam that you've created, and it's nice and secure. What you could do is, if you want to get decorative or add a bit of color, you can take some of this decorative washi tape, and washi tape is not the strongest tape, which is why the Scotch tape is better in this case, but for decoration purposes, to add a pop of color, you can run the washi tape over the Scotch tape along the seam. So now you've basically made a tube with a nice clean edge on the top and an unfinished edge on the bottom. So we're going to take that bottom side, we're going to fold it up. I'm going to thumbnail, I'm going to do about 2 inches, just eyeballing it. And now we're going to open this crease, and we're going to manipulate the paper so that we can flatten the corners to make triangles. And the seam is going to line up with this natural seam here. We're going to do the same thing on this side. A little bit like origami. And now we're going to close the bottom of the bag by meeting the edges, folding those up. And again, we're going to meet the middle, the seam. We're going to repeat it on this side. And then we're going to tape. Again, I like the Scotch tape because it is a little stronger. We're going to go right across all the way. You can go from end to end if you want. So now, this makes a loose, a kind of a free-form bag, if you will. But if you wanted to go for a more traditional paper bag, lunch bag type of bag, you can go further by folding the side and follow the pattern of this previous fold crease here. And flip it over. We're going to do it again on this side. We're going to fold, kind of follow the pattern there. Make them as much as the same size as you can. And so now we have this. So now is a good time to decorate your bags. It's much easier to do it now while it's flat than to try to do it when it's already created. So you could, we could add a little bit more color. If I had a rubber stamp, I could rubber stamp this. I could draw on the bag. Add embellishments like rhinestones, and also we can add little handles. So, you know, a hole puncher would do. This is thin enough paper that you could actually do this with a pencil, a sharpened pencil. You could poke a hole through with a sharpened pencil. So there you go. Okay, so we've got that. Now we're going to gently open our bag back up. And you'll find that this dictionary paper is actually much thinner than most paper. But I kind of like it because it does really have a nice pattern. It makes a nice pattern. And don't worry that the words are running the other way. I think that's just kind of what becomes part of the background and the design. So what we're doing now is we're taking those side creases and we're reversing them. So where the center here is sticking out, we're going to actually fold it so it sticks in. And that's what's going to make your traditional like paper bag design. And it might take a little bit. The thinner paper is a little harder to manipulate, but once you get it, it works. So now we have our paper bag. You can see here, it might need a little bit of finessing. Again, the thinner paper is a little harder, but it's very cute. So now what you can do, now if you want it to be stronger or more sturdy, one trick is to take a piece of cardstock or an old cereal box. I'm all for repurposing. So a cereal box, a piece of cardstock. I'm just really loosely tracing the outline of the bag and the footprint, and I'm going to cut a little short of it so that way it fits in neatly. And I've basically created a bottom. So I'm going to tuck this into the bag. Now you could actually even double stick tape this or glue it, but what that does is it gives it a little bit more rigid of a bottom, and it holds the structure a little better. Plus, it also, if you really want to go coordinated, you can color coordinate the inside of your bag and make it just a little bit more visually interesting. All right, I'm going to take some ribbon here. So now I'm going to make handles, and I'm going to feed this through the holes that I've poked with the hole puncher. And I'm going to, depending on the length of ribbon you have, you can tie it individually on each end, or you can do a knot that holds it all together, and that way it's nice and secure. You can tape the inside of the handles down so they won't poke out like that. And you can repeat it on the other side. You can make the handles as long as you want. So this is just one style of bag, and you can get pretty creative. You can go, with a whole lot of different kinds of decorations or ways to seal your bag. You could use stickers. There you go. So voila, we have our first little bag. So let me show you another bag. We have, I'm going to take this music note paper, music sheets, and because this is the edge that was ripped from when I tore it out of the book, I'm going to actually fold this over and make this the top edge of my bag. And you notice, you work horizontally, and that gives you a wider bag. If I went vertically, and you can do this, but it'd be a little harder to do, you can make a long, skinny bag, and maybe that's good for a wine bottle or something tall and skinny that you would give somebody. So I folded. We're going to go back around. Going to fold about halfway. It doesn't have to be perfect. You're going to overlap just a little bit, so that way you're closing the seam And again, I'm using my Scotch tape, and I'm going to go over the edge so that way I can really close that seam up at the top. You don't want it to open up and rip. Scotch tape. And again, I like to work in smaller pieces. It's just easier to manage. I'm going to go ahead and tape the bottom seam too. Okay, so we have that. So now I'm going to fold it up. Again, I'm doing about 2 inches. The higher you go, the shorter the bag will be, but it'll be wider at the base. There will be a point where you can't fold it beyond the width of the bag. So you'll notice if you try that, you're going to run into some issues. Here, I'm making sure my seams line up. That allows the bag to have a nice flat bottom. And again, I'm going to fold up to the center here. And this is great. It really is. It's a quick and easy thing to do. It adds a nice personal touch to a gift. It's great, you know, because they're petite little bags depending on the size of the paper you have. You know, they'd be great. Put a gift card in there and some treats or some candies, and you have a perfectly good gift. Okay, so again, this is a more free-formed bag, but you'll notice this paper is a little thicker. So I'm going to go ahead and do the box bottom, or the paper bag style gift bag design. And so I'm folding the edges over, and I'm kind of following the cue of this first crease or fold. There we go. And so the thicker the paper does pretty well with holding those folds. And so now we're going to fold. You can feel it in the paper when you go to see how much easier that is to manipulate it. And you're just going to do a nice run along the edge, make sure it's nice and crisp. It takes the fold very well. Again. And that's it. Voila. That one came out really well. So yeah, a little bit thicker of a paper is nice, but again, you know, it's about the design, so you want it to be pretty. And speaking of pretty, we can embellish our gift bags a number of ways. You know, you can have like little tchotchkes that you can hang off, you know, tie it off, put a ribbon through, and then hang the embellishments from. You can, let's add, so another thing you could do is you could take you know, depending on what you have in your bag, you can take the top and fold it over. Again, kind of like a lunch bag, and it depends on which side you want to show. Let's just do this here on the seam side. So a nice, really cute little bag. I'm going to just eyeball this. I'm taking a piece of scrap paper, and I want this bag to feel celebratory, so I'm going to trim this a little bit. And again, look, it's not perfect. I'm going to cut out a little, like a pennant shape out of my cardstock here. And then I'm going to fold over the top. And this could be something like an adornment that could then, you could punch a hole through that and put ribbon on there. You could just tape it on there. You could staple it on there. And it's very cute. Another way you could decorate your bag, I have all these different, so these are, I should say that a lot of this paper is from books that were donated to the Friends of the Poughkeepsie Public Library District, and they weren't necessarily something that the Friends bookstore could sell. Outdated dictionaries, outdated travel guides, if the books are in too poor of a shape, that, you know, there's a number of reasons. And so here's a date planner that is beautiful. It's all these quilts, beautiful quilts, but the planner itself wasn't in the best of shape, so I salvaged the pages that I thought were really cool. And you know, you can make use of the designs that they're already here. So like, I really like this vibrant green quilt design, and I'm just following along with what I've got. This would also, so you could use these, I was thinking the gift card to go with it, or the tag, or you could, you know, glue this on the front and then add more stuff to it. There's a number of things you could do, and you know, it's just nice to get a little creative and use your hands and get away from the computer or the phone and, you know, make something. So the Friends bookstore is fantastic. If you haven't shopped there, I highly recommend it. Everything they have there is typically $2 or less, and they have a lot. They have a lot of things, and so there's a lot to work with. Old children's picture books are great. Those would make great kids gift bags. You know, old dictionaries, like I said, old encyclopedias. Now the Friends don't sell those things because, again, those are types of things that we don't, the Friends wouldn't take. But, you know, keep an eye out. Thrift stores, vintage stores. So here I'm just going to go and make a little square. And I'm going to actually use some double stick tape. I actually have this tape runner. It's a double stick tape runner, which I love. It's so easy to use, and you can get them at any craft supply store. And so, like, I just made a little gift tag. You know, you can put in a person's name. My son's name is Robert, so I'm going to put an R on there. And I can tape the bag, or I can what I might do, I'm actually going to put a little ribbon through it. And so, a very personalized little gift bag, which is really cute. It's an extra added touch. So another thing you can do, which I thought was kind of fun idea, is you can take scraps of paper, and I save a lot of different kinds of paper, and we could make some kind of abstract flowers with it. So here, you know, the gift bag's cute and all, but you want to decorate it, and you don't have to spend a lot of time doing it. So we have a very abstract one layer of flower, and what would be a good color to go with that? Let's see. About I'm not sure about that blue. I'll do this paper. This quilt paper can be kind of funky. You know, that's the great thing about scraps. You can really mix and match and do anything you want with them. So there's that. I kind of like this color theme going on here. Maybe I will take more of that red that I have. And it's actually got even a little glitter in it, which is kind of nice. Makes it sparkly. And I'm just free cutting with my scissors. Just kind of wobbly, organic shapes. And then I'm going to take this little piece of scrap, and I'm going to cut that in half. Like that. So then I'm going to do cut little triangles out of this to make it look kind of grass-like or stem-like on each side. Hope you can see what I'm doing here. Never mind my cat. That's Rosie. Do it again, so I'll make it go 4 ways. Again, Rosie likes to be the star of the show. She's been on many a Zoom call. And that's part of the reason why I do these crafts, is because I start to go bonkers just being on the computer all the time. I need to do something with my hands. So, okay, so you know, the hole puncher you have might not reach all the way, so you just kind of have to eyeball it and make it work. And you know, it's not perfect, and it doesn't have to be. So you can do whatever you want with it. I also have a very dull hole puncher. And I'm going to punch a hole. It's cardstock, so it's a little thicker. And here too. Actually, I might need to empty that out. There we go. Okay. So what I have is these old-fashioned brass fasteners, you know, for office supply stuff, and they make kind of fun flower centers. And what you could do is you can kind of pinch the paper around, once you've fed it through, you can pinch the paper around the center to give it a little bit more dimension. So I'm going to do that on each layer. You know, and it doesn't have to be a lot, but just something to give it a little bit more depth. And it's kind of fun. It looks really cute. Okay, so now I've got that. I'm going to flatten this. And now I can attach it to my bag. Let me pick a bag. And that actually can be hole punched again, the bag, because the brass fastener is already there. You can just feed it through the bag. And oops, caught on my handle. I might have to twist it around a little bit just to get it so it doesn't poke out. Like that. It's pretty cute. So what else do we have? So we can use larger paper, like maps. And maps are cool because they're very colorful, and in a way that, you know, the colors are more versatile. So it's not so girly. It could be used for a guy. Just kind of fun, especially because they're not, you know, you have to really zoom in to see detail. So from afar, it just looks kind of like a cool design. So this is a bigger sheet of paper. So this is going to give me a bigger bag. And see, I even have some little tears in here, which I would tape up before I start making my bag. You're going to figure out which side you want to be the front, and what side you want to be the inside. And I'm going to just do this. So again, I'm going to start with a nice clean edge fold. Make it as even across as possible. It's not always perfect, but it, you know, the paper tends to want to do its thing anyhow. So now we're going to fold in, and now because these pages are the same size and they had from a larger booklet, it's one giant signature, you have a line there that you can already use to measure the halfway point. Okay, I'm going to bring this around. And there we go. All right, so now we're going to tape this up again with the Scotch tape or clear tape. And I'm going to fold this over the edge there. And so you get the technique. So this is a much bigger bag. This is probably very similar to a gift bag that you could buy at the dollar store. But if you're in a pinch, or if you like cool ephemera, or, you know, reusing things, this is a great alternative than spending money. So we're going to fold it again. You might have to stick your finger in there to really kind of pop out that corner to get it nice and flat. And now we're going to go to the center. And over. I'm actually going to overlap this one a little bit. And if you have to, you can even use, you know, the edge of your scissors to get a nice, clean, crisp fold. And we're going to tape this down. I'm actually going to add a little tape on each edge, make it extra secure. You know, Mother's and Father's Day is coming up. If they're, you know, if they're into crossword puzzles, maybe you get, you know, reuse a section of the New York Times, or, you know, comic book character, the comics page. Those would also make great gift bags, and larger size too. You could double up the pages, so that way, because newsprint is also very thin, but you could double up the pages, and that'll make it a little bit more sturdy. Alright, so now I'm just reversing these folds to make it into a traditional lunch paper bag style bag. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So here we go. There we go. Yeah, just have to have a little patience. It happens. You're training paper to do something that it doesn't normally want to do, so it's kind of a neat bag. And, you know, in this one, I might just have actually this is more interesting this side, so maybe I'll just fold it over. And I can use a clothespin for this bag. To close it. Attach a little note card. But this is a nice size bag. This is a little bigger than a traditional lunch bag. So you could fit a lot in here. Okay, so there you have it. I made it a little top heavy. You could put a bottom in here, and then once you put the gift in it, it'll hold it up, so I'm not worried about that. So you have some examples of some bags, and you have lots of opportunities with lots of different kinds of papers, coloring sheets, and also too, I should say that if you have some cool book that's really cool and old, you could also make photocopies of the books, or take them to the copy shop, or go to the library and make a color copy, and you know, that way you're not actually hurting an original book that means something to you. You know, please don't go cutting up any precious books, but there's a lot of options there, especially if the book is something that's handed down to you. You know, that might make a nice presentation as far as a gift wrap goes. All right. So thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial, and I encourage you to send me pictures of the bags you've made and let me know what you think. Thanks.